Egan Bernal is the new champion of the Tour de France, the 22-year-old, the first Colombian to win the biggest bike race of them all. And Bernal will go down as the champion of one of the greatest editions this race has given us in decades. Well, Brian Smith and Sir Bradley Wiggins are with us to get our heads around not just the day of racing, but the full past 3 weeks. And first of all, Bradley, to the stage winner today, Vincenzo Nibali. It seems fitting that someone of his stature should bookend this Tour de France with a win today. Absolutely, and if not him, the guy who finished second in Alejandro Valverde. You know, I mean, it just, you know, these are the old school type riders. You know, like, wow, you know, what was that, Brian? Nothing against age. No, but these are guys that I've kind of grown up with, racing with, and you know, we talk so much about tempo now and riding to power and kind of just getting the job done, but these guys are the ones that light the racing up, and I think that's why we've loved Julian Alaphilippe and fallen in love with him, because it gives us something to watch as the viewer, and it's just been a joy, this Tour de France. It's been the best tour I can remember for a long, long time. Even though Ineos has still won, you know, they've always been touted as boring tours when Ineos win, or Sky. But this one certainly has been brilliant. And that's the thing, Brian, if you look at the final GC and you see a 1-2 for Team Ineos, if we'd been shown that back in Brussels, we may have rolled our eyes and thrown our hands to the skies and said, well, that's not going to be much fun, and it was quite the opposite. Yeah, it didn't reflect anything we saw in the race. We didn't see any Ineos control at all throughout the whole race, and we were making comments on it, especially myself. But we saw it in the last couple of days when it counted. It was just a pity for Pinot. I think Pinot would have been an influence in this race. I don't think he would have bettered Bernal. Bernal just looked a cut above everybody yesterday, but who knows? Feel for Alaphilippe, but what a brilliant race, and deserved winner. And I have to say, hats off to Geraint Thomas. Yeah, hats off to him indeed, because despite losing his title, this is nonetheless his second best Tour de France finish ever. Here he is speaking at the end of the stage today.
We had a chat at the start. Ideally, you wanted to protect the jersey. You jumped to first and second. Couldn't have been more perfect, really.
Stage win.
Yeah, there is that.
But I'm never happy, mate. Even last year, I wanted to win on more stages. But yeah, no, I think it's a good day. It's an amazing day. You know, to defend the jersey with Egan, the way we've battled through, both of us, like, you know, it feels like it's just been one thing after the other with me, but it's been great that Egan took the jersey yesterday, and I was a bit frustrated at the end there because I wanted to chase Nibali, but at the same time with Kruijswijk so close to me, I thought, well, if we bring Nibali back, Kruijswijk wins the stage, puts 3 seconds into me, I lose second spot. It was like, oh, as it turned out, I was good and he wasn't quite so good, but hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But no, like I said, to get first and second doesn't get any better.
I mean, yeah, like you said, after the difficult season you've had, to come back as defending champion, keep it within the team and still perform at the level you have, upon reflection, you still must be pretty happy, mate. I know you're a winner, but it's not all bad.
Oh, for sure. You know, I think the fact that Egan's one step above me is, you know, it's the best person to have in front of me. Yeah, obviously it's been like a crazy year for me, but yeah, I think I can be happy and proud that I've given everything I can to be in the best shape here, and I think we rode really well as a team. The whole team from day one has been amazing, and we've taken a lot of flack, as always, but you know, I think we've proven again, time and time again, that we're a real strong unit and we know how to ride well and perform in this race, and it's a pleasure to be a part of.
What's next then?
A burger tonight. Not too many beers because Paris is always hard, but then just looking forward to going home with my wife and just chilling and getting out of this bubble, because it's intense, man. It's just a big crazy circus, so it'd be nice to shut the front door and just watch a bit of BBC Breakfast and just chill.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Well, the big crazy circus is almost at an end, and here is how it's played out in the end. Egan Bernal has taken the Tour de France. Geraint Thomas finishes in second, 1:11 back. Steven Kruijswijk gets his podium spot. He finishes in third at 1:31. A phenomenal performance by Emmanuel Buchmann. Julian Alaphilippe, surely the winner in many a heart and many an eye, finishing in fifth at 3:45. Landa, Iran, Quintana, Valverde, Barguil. I mean, just looking at that top 10 and the names in it, Bradley, it fills you with awe.
It's a phenomenal top 10, but you know, hats off to Geraint there. I mean, he said He's shot to fame, you know, became a famous person by winning the Tour last year. He's had a crazy season. He has not the preparation that he would have liked or had last year. And that shows you the mark of not only the athlete, the person, to get back to his Tour de France now, maybe at only 90% of what he was last year, and still get second on GC. I think there's a lot more to come from Geraint. I think he's got another Tour winning him definitely next year.
I think under the circumstances, everything lined up for him last year. It didn't line up for him this year. He was on the deck 3 times, if we can remember, and you know, could have been so different, but he battled on, and I think that ranks up there. I know it's only second place to his teammate, but that ranks up there with all his performances so far.
Only second place at the Tour de France is pretty decent all the same. Well, let's get more from inside the Team Ineos camp then. Here's Sir Dave Brailsford.
Dave, you've tasted success on numerous occasions, unparalleled success with Team Sky and Ineos. How does this victory feel for you?
Yeah, brilliant. I think, you know, everybody's been sort of questioning the team a bit. And I mean, it's a brilliant race, wasn't it? You know, there's no doubt about it. It's the most exciting, probably, Tour de France that we've taken part in. And credit to Julian Alaphilippe, because he died for that jersey every day. And he made a lot of people second think what they thought they knew, as it were. You know, people are going, wow, he couldn't, could he? And I think Thibaut Pinot did the same in the Pyrenees. You know, I think he was extremely strong, he was brave, and he took the race to us. But in the end, you know, strategy paid out over chaos, and teamwork paid out over individuals, and that's, you know, got to wait to the end of the race to make a judgment, and that's in fact what happened.
And Bernal, it's a once in a generation type of rider for me. What about for you? How do you see him?
Well, that's why we signed him. You know, I mean, looked very hard. We looked very, very hard, and you know, we knew that we had some older kind of guys who were performing very, very well, but we looked long and hard to try and find a new generation rider, really, and we decided that was going to be Egan, and we signed him, not for very much, really. Anybody else could have signed him. It was not a money issue, and then we took him. We fought pretty hard to get him, and he's developed fantastically well.
And what about the selfless riding of Geraint Thomas? He's a real champion and a real trooper to have in the team.
Yeah, we saw that today, and you know, the advice that he's got, and the words of kind of, you know, calmness in a race, and he knows what he's doing. He's generous with his advice, you know, and he's a generous person in that sense. And it was all about a team winning in the end. And I know a lot of people may have questioned the 2 leaders and how it's working, and, you know, you're hedging your bets, is that going to work? And it's worked to perfection. You know, you can't get better than second and first.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So Egan Bernal then, the 4th winner from within that squad across 7 wins in 8 years. Bradley, there's yourself, there's Chris Froome, there's Geraint Thomas, now Egan Bernal. What is the secret within that team? How does Sir Dave Brailsford, it's down to each of you individually, but how has he done it? How has he masterminded it?
Well, as he said, they looked hard. You know, they don't just sit there doing nothing and waiting. I mean, there is the criticism sometimes that they go out and buy their talent, buy these victories, but they didn't with Bernal. You know, they went and sourced him, and they did think about the future. They've done the same with Siakov, Teo, keep getting his rain on. Sorry, Teo. But, you know, they are looking to the future, and that's what they do well as well. And I don't think Dave gets enough credit for that in terms of looking in the future. He's got a long-term vision about who's going to be next. You know, they just don't rely on Chris Froome or Geraint Thomas. They just look towards the future, and that is where, you know, that is where Dave is very, very good. So, you know, hats off to him again. And we keep saying it, they've got Carapaz next year, they've got, where does this fit, where does Chris Froome fit back into this now? They've got another 3 guys that could win the Tour de France.
I think experience counts a lot here. As Dave Brailsford said there, everybody was trying to take the race to them. Just last week, it was a French party. Bardet wasn't invited to it, and, you know, it was good to see, and everybody was getting excited about, could this be the year that Ineos Team Sky don't win this race? But it's staying in the game, just staying there. You know, even after that time trial, Bradley, when Bernal lost that time, you know, we're thinking, well, what's happening? You know, but it's just staying there. And once you're there, everybody starts cracking around you, and the cream to the top. I
mean, it's all in the preparation, it's all in the training and everything, but is it ultimately as boring as that it comes down to not breaking and knowing that you know what it takes to get to the end of the 3 weeks and win?
I think it helps. Certainly helped Bernal having someone like Geraint Thomas next to him. In the same way last year it helped having Chris Froome next to him. It helps having that previous winner guiding you through it, talking you through this, that generous advice that Dave said about you know, that would have helped Bernal, no doubt about it. You know, just the confidence he would have got from riding up that climb today with Geraint Thomas on him. I mean, Geraint will always be the first choice on a Tour team list. You know, when you talk about putting a team together, that's the quality of the man. So, but at the end of the day, you need people like that sometimes in sport, and he's got it, and he's won the Tour de France.
We heard Geraint there after the finish. He wanted to go for the stage, and he wanted to have a go, but he's thinking the restraints, and that makes a difference. You restrain yourself over the 3 weeks and don't burn too many matches, and it's all about consistently being there. And like we say, that, you know, they've done that year and year.
You mentioned the French party, Brian. Robin Bardet dug deep down the back of the sofa. He found his invite in the end, and he has taken the polka dot jersey. He is the king of the mountains. Bradley, how much does it matter to the atmosphere, to the soul of this race, to have French winners?
I think it's brilliant, and these guys, he's a class act, man. I know him quite well. He was, you know, bitterly disappointed after the stage of the Tourmalet. You don't quite know what happened. He obviously just did not come into this race with the form that he'd hoped to come into it with. But a Frenchman's going to be on the podium in Paris tomorrow. There's an element of luck with his victory, I'm sure, you know, with this. Is certainly,
as with all,
but
surely.
Hey, when the result sheets are printed, we'll look back in 20 years' time. Romain Bardet has won the King of the Mountains in the Tour de France. They're not going to say how he won it.
Well, how another jersey was won was quite emphatically, Brian, as we could have predicted, I guess, back in Brussels. Peter Sagan with a record 7th green jersey. That man is almost unbeatable in that competition.
Well, you remember he was on the show and he went like that, knocked on there.
What?
You know, yes. well, you can do a better impression. Yeah, what? He went, you know what I mean? So he knocked on the wood. He got it yesterday. He thought it was Christmas yesterday. I think that
was just the weather.
I can't even tell you who finished second in that competition. I mean, that's how much of an institution he's become.
Yeah.
You know?
Seven green. You know, what are they going to do? Change the way they have the green jersey points so that someone else, maybe a Frenchman, can have it? I don't know what they're going to do. He's a phenomenon.
Well, let's hear from the phenomenon now then. He's been speaking to Laura Messiger, with or without a wheelie. Let's see.
Hello, Peter. We just heard that you gave some advices to Vincenzo Nibali for today. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
No, we climbed like 1 week ago to Tourmalet together, then we speak a little bit, then we just said like, don't worry about your condition. You did the Giro, just recover, and you will see 3rd week all the climbers gonna be also tired from GC, then you can try, and it just happened. I'm happy for him.
And how is it? How's been for you in the mountains these days? Well, we can say you've been lucky that today was only 59 kilometers.
Yeah, I was very surprised, and thanks God. And he gave us Christmas in July. Yesterday and also today. Nice.
Peter, congratulations again for another green jersey. How special is this for you?
Yeah, it's very special. It's still tomorrow, Paris, then without injury, everything should be fine. And I'm very happy. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks God for Christmas in July. Peter Sagan, one of the characters of the peloton. I mean, just look at that. He loves keeping the fans happy. And he wasn't taking any of this for granted when we had him on the show, Bradley.
No, he wasn't even then. You know, without injury, he still knows that he's not won this thing yet. But, you know, brilliant. What the sport needs Peter. The sport needs Julian Alaphilippe. The sport needs people like that, because that's what attracts the fans to sit up this mountain for days on end before they come through.
And it's brilliant that we've had all of that at this edition, isn't it, Brian? And not only that they've been in the race, but they've shown.
Yeah, it's my 3rd time with Eurosport doing this in the Tour de France, and you see different nationalities. You see more and more Colombians, but I think over the last week I've seen more and more French out. They really have thought, the Tour de France, is it coming home? Well, it isn't, but I think they've gained so many fans this year.
Bradley, this is your first time back at the Tour de France since you won it in 2012. Have you fallen in love with it again?
I have, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with obviously the whole crew here. Fantastic crew, yourself all, a consummate professional, Brian. And it's been a real honour, and I forgot how much I loved cycling. and being here. And when I was stood up on the corner cheering for Vincenzo and fighting with a Frenchman over his beat on, I realised it was like being a kid again. And it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to be back at this race and being able to talk about the sport that I love.
You've brought a lot of pleasure to a lot of people from the back of that motorbike, Bradley. And we've got more to come. We're not going to cry just yet.
Back to the commentators.
Back to the commentary team.
We'll save all of that for tomorrow because we do have one more stage until the party in Paris. You don't want to miss that one. Here we go. We'll be rolling out from Rambouillet with a champagne reception on 2 wheels. The winning team enjoying a glass of bubbles as they go posing for pictures, hopefully speaking to Bradley, before responsibly disposing of their flutes for the final race proper. We have 8 laps of Paris, 8 gallops up the Champs-Elysees, and one more historic winner in this history-making race. Well, if you missed any of today's stage, you can watch back the highlights, which will be most of the race, let's be honest, at that rate. That's at 8 o'clock tonight on Eurosport 1. We will be back to take you into your Sunday evening from 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. That's again on Eurosport 1. And if you start twiddling your thumbs because of the later start, or you find yourself at risk of having a job to do helping out with the Sunday lunch, then the Bradley Wiggins podcast will give you the chance to sneak off and put off those Sunday chores a little bit longer. You can listen to the latest episode on your usual podcast platform now. From here, though, the Alps, the final battleground of the GC War. Vincenzo Nibali stands tallest over the rest of the field on stage 20. It's Egan Bernal, who's the new general of the Ineos army and the ruler of the Tour de France. We're partying in Paris next. You going to join us?
Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, 2 sunny cities, 1 break.
The Tour de France on Eurosport.